Okay, I want and welcome to Fabulous Makadura, Chaminda Hettiarachchi. This is actually a follow-up session. Last week I did a similar session on introducing the term, the concept of R0 to R0 in epidemics like Covid-19, how you consider that to handle or manage the pandemic. Now I had a long discussion on that. Today I want to mainly show you some of the applications and also how to calculate R0 or R rather in Sri Lankan context. Now just to very briefly, if I want to summarize you what I discussed in the early session. Let me share the screen for you. Uh, so let me show you some of the main concepts. Basically, R0 is the basic reproduction number. That means, in simple terms, how many persons can be infected by a single patient during the incubation time. This is with some conditions. For example, when whole 100% population is, can be infected, there's no immunity, and everybody can infect same probability. So on those terms, now the idea is R naught. If the R naught is bigger than 1, so that means in average, single patient can uh, infect more than another person. That means if you say R naught is 2, that means one person can infect 2 people during the period of the incubation, or during the period where the person can spread the disease. If R naught equals 1 means that means one person can only infect one another person. So it means in the long run the the disease will be there because it will be like more kind of stable. However, due to previous guys get cured or get killed due to the pandemic or the disease, eventually the disease will go away. So it will not be a definitely it won't be a outbreak. The third scenario is when R naught is less than 1. That is, in average, a person can infect only less than 1%. So that means automatically after some time it will be disappearing. So that's the basic idea of R naught. It's a very simple understanding or simple term, but it has a lot of complications. I will explain to you. Now, some of the assumptions in calculating on defining R naught is, so nobody has been vaccinated in that population. No one has that disease before, and there's no way to control the spread. So that means no intervention by the policymakers or the health professionals. For example, this is the example of 1918 Spanish flu, which killed more than 80 million people. Now, in terms of R naught for COVID-19, there is a kind of estimation can be from 2.2 to 2.7, but also there are some other calculations 5 to 6. It's not very infectious like the other diseases, but it also can be an outbreak because it can be it has more than one or more than one. Now, what are the considerations for calculating of R naught? One is the infectious period. This is mainly calculated in days. How many days one person can infect other person? So it says for R naught for COVID-19 it's 8 days in general. and also, but that's why we have like 14 days of a quarantine period. But 18 days doesn't mean that everybody can spread only to 18 within 18 days, 8 days. Some people can spread more than 2 weeks. Some can not spread less, maybe just like 5 days. So it's a expected value or average. So this is determined by a few factors. One is contact rate, that is the contagious of the disease. So that means how easily the disease can get uh, to the other person through the contact or some other way. And what are the mode of transmission? It's airborne or by touch or by other liquids from the body liquids or something like that. Airborne diseases are normally very high in terms of uh, R-0. So these are the three factors: contact rate, infectious period, and mode of transmission. Okay. So that is why normally by reducing these three factors, we can reduce the R-0. So that is why we do the social distancing, avoiding going to congested places, and stay at home. Those kind of things are designed. Washing hands are designed to, reduce these high infection period, contact rate, or mode of transmission. By doing that, we can reduce the uh, reproduction rate. Okay, so that is basically the first idea on R-0. But there are also other concepts we discuss. What is the difference between R-0 and RE? That is the effective rate of reproduction. R-0 is like normally like given for a particular disease, but R-0 is as a result of vaccination or the intervention. So normally we practice R. In real life we will have R effective reproduction number, that is RE, but we normally use it interchangeably for ongoing disease. Now also we will look at why R-0 is important for policy making. Many countries are now trying to use R-0. In Sri Lanka, it's not much used in the policy making, but I think they also use indirectly. So I want to, as a part of this session, I want to, educate people about this. So we'll see how R-0 is, can be used for policy making. It's a BBC video, short one.
Our lives right now are pretty much controlled by something called R0, also known as the R number. It tells us how many people will likely get infected for every one person who gets ill with coronavirus. If the reproductive number is 2, then one person will probably make 2 others sick, and so the disease spreads. If it's 3, then it'll be around 3. Without a cure or vaccine, this R number guides every decision governments make to fight this pandemic. Before changes were brought in to reduce the spread of coronavirus, its R number was between 2 and 3, which is why it spread so quickly. The aim is for it to be less than 1 and to keep it there so health services can cope. But when R0 is less than 1, we can't immediately switch back to how things used to be. Each restriction that's lifted makes the R number rise, some more than others, but it's not clear how much. And how restrictions are lifted exactly will affect the R number too. For instance, what happens if schools reopen? What if only some pupils go back? These decisions have to be made for everything, and the answers aren't clear. Governments need to carefully balance this need to get countries moving again, while still keeping the public safe.
Okay, so you might have got a good idea about why it's important to understand the concept of R-0 and how it's affecting our decisions, the government decisions in either controlling or in terms of going back to normalcy. But now we can see if you want to go in a quick manner, that means automatically our reproduction number or spread rate will go up. We want to do it slowly, still it will increase, but maybe it's in a controlled manner. That is why going back to normal life or exit strategy from all these restrictions should be carefully handled and managed and planned. So, for example, they should run different scenarios and see how by having relaxed restrictions, how R0 can uh, uh, change. So that's basically one idea you should pay attention when you are thinking about going back to normal life. Okay, so that is fine. And also we discuss about uh, how R0 is connected or related to flattening the curve. So we talk about this. You can see in this nice graph. This is the this axis number of cases, and this is the time axis. So basically, when you have a high R value, the curve is steep or tall is like this one, right? And as a result of that, that is the healthcare capacity. Now, when you go beyond the healthcare capacity, number of cases, automatically our health system will be, highly under, overutilized, and it will be not sufficient. So the healthcare capacity, as we discussed last time, can be ICU beds or normal hospital beds, or specialist doctors, other health workers, or any device like ventilator. So basically, the idea of flattening the curve is, you flatten the curve or take it down. So that means, in practical sense, you are trying to slow down the spread of the uh, disease, or reduce the R0 or R. I keep on telling R0, but please remember that can be R. In practical scenario, when it's going on, it's RE. So it can be R0, or just R reproduction number. So if you can flatten the curve where the patients or infected people come to the hospitals in a slowed or controlled manner over the period of longer time, now told curve is in a short period, and flat curve is along a long period. It doesn't mean that you stop disease, but still infections are getting on, and the number of patients are going on, but it's under control because you still have capacity to serve those people who are infected. Now, we discussed this, what happened in, for example, Italy. Italy, the capacity was not enough to serve all incoming patients. So as a result of that, a lot of people got killed because they were not getting the treatment. Now, in Sri Lanka, still we didn't get to that level, but ideation, very recently the director of the hospital said that they reached the capacity of the maximum capacity of that particular hospital in terms of number of beds. We can still manage with other hospitals, but basically we also have to pay attention when we reach that threshold of reaching our bed capacity. I think Sri Lanka is the bed capacity is crucial because ICU is not really much utilized at the moment. With 700 patients, we have only one person in ICU. So I would say the total number of beds that can be 10,000 in the country, but maybe for the only for the COVID-19, 2,000 or 3,000 as per now. Therefore, that's also a consideration we have to keep in mind, and that's why we need to slow down the spread of the virus without getting into the go beyond the health care capacity. So high R means tall curve, small r means flat curve. So if you can manage to flatten the curve, so we will be still able to manage with the limited healthcare capacity. That is the idea of health capacity, R0, and the flatten the curve. Okay. We also look at now how this is practically used. Now, I was talking about German Chancellor's approach. She talked about this 2 years ago. Now, I kept on telling about this because this is a very good example of how head of state or political leader of the country use science and mathematical, uh, you know, terms to give a message to the entire society, how people should learn about this disease and how to control that. Now, so it's policy, science, and public communication. I'm also trying to do the same thing since it's not happening in Sri Lanka in that context. Okay, let's see how Angelica Merkel talk about R-0 using scientific knowledge. This is in German, but it's subtitled, so you can read what she's saying.
Ja, natürlich auch nicht. Das kann immer nur für eine Infektion. Ist flacher geworden. Es bleibt nach wie vor so, sie muss so sein, dass sie unser Gesundheitssystem nicht überfordert. Und wir haben Modellbetrachtungen gemacht, wenn wir sind jetzt ungefähr bei diesem Reproduktionsfaktor 1. Also
very important note that she's talking about, like, they are observing models. So now in Sri Lanka, we talk about number of cases that happened there, blah, blah. It's all about what happened already, right? More like a history based. But Merkel is talking about policies are based on, of course, on what happened, empirical data, but the model is her main decision, something to look into the real decision making. So it's a very important element of public policy, what is done in countries like Germany.
So einer steckt einen an, der natürlich auch nicht, das kann ich immer nur für eine Infektionskette sagen, ob einer einen ansteckt, das ist dann ein Mittelwert, aber es ist ungefähr, einer steckt einen an. Schon wenn wir darauf kommen, dass jeder 1,1 Menschen ansteckt, dann sind wir im Oktober wieder an der Leistungsfähigkeit unseres Gesundheitssystems mit den angenommenen Intensivbetten. Wenn wir 1,2, also jeder steckt 20% mehr, 1,2 an, also von 5 Menschen steckt einer 2 an und 4 ein. Dann kommen wir im Juli schon an die Belastungsgrenze unseres Gesundheitssystems bei 1,3. Das hört sich nicht viel. Wir kommen von 4, 5 Ansteckungen, 3 bis 5 Ansteckungen. 1,3 sind wir im Juni an der Belastungsgrenze unseres Gesundheitssystems. Daran sehen Sie also, in welch kleinem Spielraum wir uns aufhalten. Und die ganze Entwicklung basiert darauf, dass wir davon ausgehen, dass wir eine Infektionszahl haben, die wir überblicken können, die wir nachverfolgen können und dass wir mehr Schutzkonzepte haben und durch die mehr Schutzkonzepte auch mehr Lockerungen machen. Aber es ist ein grünes Eis, wie Herr Tschentscher gesagt hat, oder eine fragile Situation oder wirklich eine Situation, in der Vorsicht das Geburt ist und nicht Übermut.
Okay, so you can very nicely see.
Die Kurve ist flacher geworden. Es bleibt nach wie vor so, so sein, dass sie unser Gesundheitssystem nicht überfordert.
How the chancellor is talking about predictions based on the model where they look at R as a key vision factor. So she says if R0 is 1.3, Germany will reach the in this case ICU bed capacity by end of June, and this was actually done in April. Let me just check. April 16. So she's predicting for the future. If the R0 is 1.2, I think she was saying by end of July the capacity will be reached, and if it's 1.3, the capacity ICU bed capacity will be filled by end of October, August or something. Yeah. So she's emphasizing the importance of the seriousness of the the disease by referring R0 as a main decision factor. So she's actually like being cautious, cautious about being able to meet the patient capacity. So therefore, she's asking people to be careful. So if they can, if they can stay at home and all this with the restriction, then there's a chance that they can reduce the R0, spend one and cut in the go, and then lives can be saved. So you can see now I have done a separate video on Merkel's approach and how Germany addressed coronavirus or COVID-19 in a very calculated, scientific, yet very cautious manner, without talking, we have won it and we can do it. No, she has been very serious from the beginning. She has asked people to be serious and cautious. However, they were able to manage the lower number of deaths, even though the disease has been kind of spreading in a higher scale. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea about how the serious leaders take science into policy making in pandemic situation. Now, if you like to study further on R-0, I can also, this modeling is very important. Now, one is I already discussed about this Washington Post article. This is done in March. It's very interesting, and how exponentially spreading curve, spreading. This is like the coronavirus can be controlled by flattening the curve, and the beauty of this is done very early using US situation, but the same concept, of course, it's the same mathematics and same idea, particularly by using social distancing, how you can avoid it. Now you can see here, this is what I want to show you, very simple, simple explanation how one person, we take one person, sick guy, will spread to the population. Yeah, this is a very simple example. And then, of course, you won't only have spreading of the disease, but also there will be some curing. Now you can see this one get cured, but they won't spread. So how by social distancing and other means, or even vaccination, how you can reduce the outbreak. Now this one is an interesting simulation over a period of time. You can see these are sick guys. The blue one is they are healthy people. Over the period of time, how the population, how this is these are recovered people, these are sick people, and these are healthy people. Recover. Let me check again. These are sick people. These are healthy people. Blue is healthy, and this yellow kind of thing is sick people, and this dark other blue is recovered people. So you can see increases and reduce over the period of time, because there is a immunity to vaccination or some other means. So this is the simple example of 200 people in a small population. So this is a simulation for an imaginary disease. Also, then they have additional different scenarios. I think this one social distancing of lockdowns as done in Hubei province in China. How they have been able to manage the spread by reducing the mobility of the people. So you can see some the sick guys only are here; they can't go here. You can see numbers here. It's displayed here. So likewise, they have simulated different scenarios with recovery of healthy people for different measurements like social distancing, extensive social distancing, and moderate ones. How it's happening. It's very interesting. If you can read it, you can understand and visualize how simulation can be used for understanding different policy options like social distancing, lockdowns, imposing curfew, and other possible scenarios, as well as what will happen if you, for example, relax these restrictions. I think at the moment we are in the mood of relaxing the existing restriction. So you can also see what will happen by increasing the spread rate. Now, this one I just, this is also Washington Post. It has also very good representation, visualization through simulation, particularly by looking at different R-0s and effective reproductive rate. So you can see infected people, recovered people, and death. So all are shown. So these are different scenarios using simulating. By changing R0 and RE, you can see here. Now simulation is it's a predictions based on a kind of games. So these are very useful in understanding future scenarios. So that is why I have been emphasizing the importance of tools like simulation in understanding and taking into consideration in policy making, and even to communicate with public. I don't see that happening in Sri Lankan among Sri Lankan policymakers. Okay, so you can see this article will be also very useful. It is from Washington Post, done in February. It's early, even before the outbreak happens. Okay, and Latin America we discussed already. Yeah, this one I actually found now from the British Guardian paper, UK Guardian paper. This is comparatively recently. It also has this, a nice explanation on how one person can, with COVID-19, R-0 as 2.6, how it can spread through the, society. 2.6 means 2 people or 3 people, and then how they will affect others, infect others, what will happen after 5 to 6 days. So this, I think the incubation period is 6 considered as 5 days or 6 days. So you can see people are getting total infected 8 instead of 16. For different diseases are not 0, 2 for COVID, can be also one higher, and then influenza, Spanish flu, SARS 3, smallpox 6, measles, measles is I think sorry, non high are not 15. So you can see for different diseases, different R nodes, and therefore the spread rates for infectiousness of those diseases are different. Okay, so you can see how, for example, these are spreading for the period of time, different scenarios. Okay, it's very beautiful to see, and it's easy to understand when you do the simulation. You can see these are sick people, and these are cured people, and these are healthy people. How, if you don't take any actions, what will happen if you take actions? How you can control the outbreak? Okay, how you can treat them, and by also changing, you can, you change and you can see different scenarios here. That's the beauty of simulation. You can change the parameters and see. I teach simulation for management subjects, but this is a very different experience, but it's really good. You can watch it yourself and learn about diseases, about policy making, and what will happen. So this is called scenario analysis. This online simulation will be a very useful tool. I just want to show you here. This is by Guardian newspaper articles available online for how coronavirus spread through a population and how we can beat it. Yeah. Okay, great. We watched that one also. Yeah, now we'll come to today's main topic, that is Sri Lankan situation, and how we can understand and learn more about it, and maybe also try to calculate possible reproductive numbers. Now this is the official COVID-19 situational dashboard by Ministry of Health. You can see the total number of cases and deaths and recoveries. And funny thing is, they also have now the number of not here, but they also have number of tests carried out. So it's somewhere else. Okay, so all this information details are there. Yeah, it's same thing. Now my I also want to show you this one. This is the global tracking by, I think it's done by John Hopkins University. It has all the countries, but also Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka details are also there. You can also get the details about daily rates, the cases, active deaths and everything in this one. This is also very reliable, and you can also compare countries, the world. Maybe you can also enter the total in the world, how they are increasing. Now, for example, USA cases, serious numbers, total cases for 1 million population deaths. This is the mortality rate. Total tests also here. Let's look at Sri Lanka. Low numbers. Sri Lanka is still low in number of total deaths. You can see total tests 29,000. Tests per 1,000 people. Tests per million people. Yeah, tests per million people. Still, what is that? 1,200. So it's not very bad now, but still can improve. Okay, good. So this one is also useful resource. If you're doing any work on coronavirus. Okay, but what I want to do is do some calculations. Now, I told you how to calculate R0. How to calculate R0? I would say R. Now, again, I want to tell you the difference. R0 is, it's like the default when you don't have any intervention or vaccinations, how disease will spread. But RE, effective reproduction number, is when there are interventions, there is a immunity in the by through a vaccination or any other policy tools. So what you in real life what you see is R, effective R. So we just for the easiness we say R, or reproduction number. That's what we are going to calculate. Now to do that you need also number of days, incubation days where a person or patient can spread the disease to other people. That is still not known, but there are some estimations like 5 days and 6 days for COVID-19. But I want to show you here, it's a very simple way to calculate it. It's not going to be very accurate, but also the assumptions are kind of very basic, but still we'll try to do it. Now, easy to calculate. First of all, we look at what if R0 is, what if the incubation period is only 1. That means every day only one person can spread the disease only within a day. This is a very basic assumption, but I won't do the first scenario for very easy calculation. Let's show you how to calculate. So if you do that, now our index case, that is where we start as the ground zero. So you can say, now there are two terms. One is zero case. Zero case is what happened in the first one, the first identified patient. Now in Sri Lanka, that is the Chinese lady, but it didn't actually spread to other people from there. So we look at the spread, the index case is, I think, the tourist guide who traveled with the Italian. So that is the index case, which happened in March 11, but we'll start from March 10. Yeah, March 11, 10, yeah. And then look at this T, or the period is 1 day. So that means up to now, how many days from March 10 to we have last data, May 5th, 771. So how many days? Approximately, to save time, I will not go into details. So 10 to April has March 31st. Okay, 31st. So that means 21. And then April has how many days? 30 days. Yeah, 30 days, right? 30 days. And then we have 5 days more. Okay, so that means 5, 31, 30, 61, 66. So that means period is 66. We have last number is 721 starting with 1. So let me show you how to calculate the exponential figure. Okay, so online scientific calculator. So that means you have to get the 771. 771. You have to get the inverse root of to the power. How many days we said? 30, 31, 5 means 6, 66. Get the 66. Okay, so if you consider incubation period or spreading capacity or duration of the COVID-19 by one patient is 1 day, your R0 is, your R is 1.1. So that means within that day, he or she can spread this disease to 1.1%. So still, that is how it has spread over the period of 66 days. However, we know this is not really the period. Incubation period is more than that. We normally have, used to have quarantine for 14 days, sometimes 21 days. So now let's look at what is the R figure if the incubation period is 10 days. So starting with 10 March 10. So every 10 day, they can the patients can spread. So that 10 days means we have 20. Sorry, March 20, first 30. Let's just make it simple. 30 days. So 1, 2, first of April. Sorry, 1, 2, 10 April means 3. 20 means 4. End of May. Let's look at May 1st. Up to May 1st, 690. That means if the incubation periods or T number is 10 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. 2, 9, 3, 5. So our T here is 5 now, and our last figure is 690. So let's calculate again R number. Okay. What is the number I forgot? On 1st of May, 663. Now it's 663 inverse to the power 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Yeah. So that means if you look at from May 1st from March 10, and if you assume T or the R, the number of, incubation period, if incubation period is 10 days, that means the person can spread the disease within 10 days, in a period of 10 days. So then in Sri Lankan context, these patients have in average spread to 3.6 more people. So that's also a very high number. Now, if you consider this 3.6, so 3.6 means, let's say 3.7. Now, 3.7 is if the incubation period is 10. Now, this is the figure now, it's 663 for 1st of May. Now, what will be the number for 1st of June? That we will look. given this R number, that is 3.7. How to calculate that? So you have to look at how many 10 more blocks we have. So we have now, up to now, we have 5. So then May 10 means 6. May 20th means 7. End of May means 8. So we look at what is the figure on this number. That means how to get that. 3.7. Sorry. This 3.7 is our R0. So we have to get the power of 8. Ooh. So if you continue with this, it can go up to 35,000. Okay, that means at the end of June, June, 8 means, let me just go back. Yes. 8. Yeah, 3.7. If the R0 reproduction number is 3.7, if you go along that rate, by end of the 8 incubation periods in 10 days, it will go up to 35,000. Of course, we won't go to that level because now to some extent it's controlled. And also we calculated this as a worst case scenario where people can spread up to 10 days. However, more realistic will be 5 days. So we will look at Sri Lankan experience of reproduction number for 5 days from March 10 to 6th of May. Okay. Let me go back. I hope you are following me. So now, for example, now here we are starting again from March 10. So our incubation period is 5 days. So that means how many 5 days period? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So fifth means we are in 11th period. Okay. 721 is our 11th period. So if you want to get the R0, you have to get the root of to the power 11. So we'll look at that. 721. 721. No, sorry, 771. No? Yeah, 771. 771 inverse, where's inverse? To the power 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Get the root of 11th power. Okay, so now you can see if you consider incubation period for COVID-19 5 days with the indexation March 10, we have R0 of 188. That means in average, one person has spreaded this to 1.8 people. Now again, just to condition here, we have talked about this super spreaders. So in that is a concept where not everybody is spreading in the same manner or in the same frequency, but some people spread more, whereas some people spread to less people. This is called 80-20 rule. Only 20% of the patients are responsible for 80% of the infections. So this is called super spreaders. Now, for example, Navy situation was like that. So maybe the guy who got infected in the first Navy person was a super spreader, so he spread it towards many other people. So, but we ignore that in this calculation because we look at the aggregate and total as an average scenario. Okay, so now we've calculated R as 1.8. Now we go back and just to check this whether this is correct. Now again, if you can see here, this graph is not exactly exponential, right? So there are some interventions, sometimes high rates and low rates, but this is like a in general how it looks. Now if the average, now what we are going to try to find out is if our coefficient or rate is 1.8, what could have been the real number, let's say for example at the end of April, no, March, let's say end of March. So that means maybe here 120. So 120 means how many 5 days periods? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we look at so we here see 177, right? Now we have to get the power of 4, 1.83. Let's get 4. So you can see here it shows as only 12 people. However, here in the real life you have 120K. So there the growth has been higher, but settled down later. But also we look at the end of, let's say 20th, what should have been the, according to the curve, what should have been the number on April 20th. The April 20th means in our curve 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. We have to get the 8 figure for 8. 1.83. No? 1.83. Yeah. Right. So sorry for the disturbance. So 1.83, we have to get the power of 8. Yeah. I mean, they go the simple way. 1. Did I make a mistake? 1.83. No? It gives figure as 125. Let me check again. 1.83 power 11 should give us the, yeah. So this figure is correct. 1.83. So you can see the according to curve, the curve has not been really exponential because it has gone drastically high at the last stage. But still, we can assume in in general, Sri Lanka's as per current data, our R is between 1 to 2, or maybe 1.5 to 2. So it's like 1.8 as we have calculated here. That means if you consider incubation period as 5 days, in average, one person has spread this to 1.8 more people. Okay, so if you look at this one, we can again calculate for the future. I would say my again estimation is this will continue till end of June. So we will look at depending upon the how what actions we take in the future, like restrictions and relaxations and everything. But end of June means again that is how many period? Like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again 6. End of May means end of May means 6, 10. So it's 16. Correct. 2, 4, 6 here. 9, 1, 2 here, sorry, 4 here, 6 here, 6 here, so 6, 6, 12. 6 means 12, 12, 12, 4 means 16, yeah? So we look at the 16th power, that is the end of May. What will be the figure? Again, if you forgot, maybe I won't make mistakes, but it's just to get the idea. 1.83 is the number of people going to be infected. So you have to get the power of 16. 4, 6, 6. Each month, 6 weeks, 6 5 days period. 6 is 12, and then 4. So 16. So you can see, if this continues, we will have at least 15,000 cases by end of June, end of May, right? It's a serious situation. However, we are seeing some kind of declining, but the point is, if this situation continues without taking serious actions, that can continue exponentially to get to 15,000. But now it's declining, so it's not happening in exponential way. But again, I want to, now we can draw another graph from as May 10th or May 1st, it as 0, and then how it continues, or from the day closed down, the curfew stops, I think, from 11th May. So you can still see how drastic this leakages or exponential expansion can happen. Okay, so that's the one figure. So I don't want to do an exact figure. So I wanted to highlight here, based on incubation period, which is of course inherent to particular virus, in this case 5 days, and what is the factor? So contact, the incubation period, and also how quickly it can affect other infect other people, as well as how easy we will move around among us as a way of helping the virus. So those are the issues we have to consider in controlling this figure. But this can still go up to that level if you don't take serious actions, and if you relax even action, as we have shown in the first video by BBC, in the restrictions, when you are reducing the restriction, you have to consider these different scenarios by looking at different R's, different scenarios. Okay, so this is the thing I want to show you here now. I would say that in Sri Lanka situation, safely the R is between 1.5 to 2 as per now. This one is also giving some details about the situation, but we will go to that. But now I want to show you the final thing is this COVID.iq.lk. I mean, I didn't like it at the beginning because there were a lot of mistakes, and I wanted to contact them and find out how they have done calculations. But now they have improved it recently, and this has a lot of predictive information analytics than the government one. So this is not official one, but there's a lot of information. For example, now let me show you this already. So 0 in ICU, the number of people in ICU, so they have mentioned number of test cases, all the other rates, and now this is the important thing. Now they have done the prediction, so they say final figure is 1029. I think it will be more than that, but we look at not the accuracy, but how they have done. You can see they have done this kind of spread or the population distribution. According to that figure, by end of 10th July, this will be 0. So that's what they have, how they have projected. Yeah. So that's their curve. Of course, that can be different if there are any other sparks. But I'm very keen on learning more about how they have done, but they are not to be contacted. Yeah. So you can see there are other predictions and visualizing. It's fairly good modeling they have done. Now you can see at the beginning they predicted. I was immediately convinced it was not correct. So they say, for example, according to their model, they said it's going to be 180, but we saw how it spread. They don't look at this from, I think, characters of the disease. They only look at the numbers mathematically. That was the problem. Okay, so you can see that this will go up to 2029 until the end of July. But I think these are not accurate figures, but still it's okay. At least we are doing predict of doing good, at least some kind of predictions. Okay, so these are some more graphs and interesting things. If you're interested, you can look at that. And they have also nicely shown how R-0 is changed over the period of time in Sri Lanka from before the curfew and after the curfew. Now, according to their calculations, R-0 now is 1.4, whereas my one is 1. I would say 1.8. And the funny thing is, their recovery period is 11. Yeah, they might have additional assumptions. Okay, so how other countries have performed. So I invite you to look at them, and if you have any questions, you can also ask me and we can discuss this. Yeah, lot of data. Okay, this is also from World Health Organization. They have a kind of simulation. I think they have from that. Okay, so that's basically the thing I want to discuss with you. Let me unshare. Okay, so idea was to show you based on my first discussion how the concept of R0 flattening the curve and how that match with the health care capacity, how has been applied in other countries, how models like simulation are useful in predicting the future, and the Sri Lankan simulation. So we look at Sri Lankan situation with some scenarios, not very correct, correct figures, but I wanted to show you how if you do this. I did this with very limited time with less preparation, but if you have more resources, more people, more expertise, you can do a really good job. Yeah, so that's basically what I want to say as a summary is that COVID-19 is a real serious challenge to all of us, and future outcomes and the final results are unknown. That is why we need to use our knowledge and expertise to predict different scenarios and see what we should do. So based on my own calculations and observations, I think still the situation in Sri Lanka is not fully under control. There can be different spillovers or leakages, and if you do careless, I would say the relaxation of restriction, the situation can get worse, particularly with the second wave. As you saw, our historical performance has also not been very well. However, now still we will have the advantage of the good weather condition, hot weather condition, island location, and also some people say the immunity we have based on ECG. Maybe we have hope that this spread will not happen in a negative way, as I already explained. So, but still, I'm sure this will go at least up to 1,000, as that model explained. Also, other people have modeled that way, more than 1,000, and maybe till September or August. So therefore, we should pay attention, keep our social distancing, and follow all the instructions by Ministry of Health and the government of Sri Lanka. So thank you very much, and if you are interested to learn further and discuss, you are invited to talk to me.